Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me for Sunday School through YouTube. But before we get going, I wanted to ask you, how are you doing in school? I hope by now things are getting easier and a lot more calm, and that your patience is helping you along the way. Don't be so hard on yourself and just try to have patience and do the best you can. And I know that you can do this along with the help of your family and your teachers. Everybody's trying to do the best they can. And I know you, I know that you are doing really well. And I'm really proud of all of you. So, again, welcome to Sunday School. We've been learning about the fruits of the Spirit, right? From Galatians 5:22. You know what? I'm getting a large collection of the Fruits of the Spirit dinner plates. How about you? Do you want to see the ones that I've made? Let me get them. All right, here's the one on joy. This is the joy that comes from deep in my heart and goes out into the world. That's my joy plate. This was the first one. This is a heart that reflects love. And to me, a hug is a simple way of saying, I love you. And I sure miss hugging my family and my friends. Oh, yes, this is the fruit of the Spirit, peacefulness. And you see, I drew a picture of the ocean because for me, I find peace there. So that's peacefulness. This is the fruit of the Spirit on patience. Yeah, the owl is a symbol of patience. And on this plate, I also drew a sunflower for the happiness and hopefulness that I pray for each one of you. And then this is the plate of kindness, right? We need to be kind to all people. And then this is the goodness plate, where we have to remember to be kind and gentle and loving and caring toward all people. That's the fruit of the Spirit, goodness. So I hope that your fruit of the Spirit dinner plates are turning out really, really good. I'm sure they are. I'd love to see some more pictures from you so that I can see what you've been drawing. So today we're going to talk about the fruit of the Spirit, faithfulness. So let me read to you from our Bible, from Galatians 5:22. This is what Paul tells us about the fruits of the Spirit. God's Spirit makes us loving, happy, peaceful, patient, kind, good, faithful, gentle, and self-controlled. So today we're going to talk about the fruit of the Spirit, faithfulness. Now, in our Holy Bible, in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1 and 2, it says this. And by the way, this is also referred to as the book of faith. Because there's a lot of stories in here that refer to people in our Bible that had a lot of faith. So let me read to you what it says. It says, faith makes us sure of what we hope for and gives us proof of what we cannot see. It was our ancestors' faith that made them pleasing to God. I'd like for each of you to have big faith in God, especially during difficult times, but every day too. So I thought I'd remind you of some of the big faith Bible stories that have some of the Bible stories that you have already learned, but maybe you have forgotten. Or some of you may not have heard the Bible stories yet, but I want to just remind you of a couple of the big faith Bible stories that I think show what faithfulness looks like. So here's the first one. How about Noah and the ark? Noah had big faith. Remember, God spoke to Noah. God warned Noah about something that had not yet happened. Noah obeyed God and built a boat that saved him and his family from the great flood. You know what? When I was reading this story, I was thinking about how I could just hear the sarcasm of people around Noah as they watched Noah building a boat to God's perfect specifications. They probably said something like, "Hey, Noah, why are you building a boat? There's no water here." Or they might have said to Noah, "So you really think God talked to you?" Yeah, Noah probably got many strange looks from people as he built the boat that God told him to build. And maybe he was even laughed at for his faith in God. But Noah had big, big faith. He didn't need to see what God's plan was for the future. He just knew what God wanted him to do that day. So even when he was laughed at and was misunderstood, Noah followed God's plan for his life. Noah knew what he was called to do because when you're doing what you're supposed to do, there is joy and victory in it. Noah had strong faith in God. Wouldn't you agree? And now here's another Bible story. Do you remember the Bible story of Abraham and Sarah? Some of you will remember it, and some of you may not have heard it yet, but Abraham and Sarah were very, very old. In fact, our Bible tells us that they were about 100 years old. And it seemed impossible that at that old age that they would have children, although that is something they always wanted. Well, God gave Abraham this big promise. God told Abraham to leave his home and go to a place that God would show him, and that one day Abraham and his wife Sarah would have children. In fact, God told Abraham that he would be the father of many nations. Imagine that. Well, Abraham heard God's promise, and even though he couldn't see how that promise was possible, he still put his faith in God. Abraham was told to go to the land that God had said would be his, and he left for a country he had never seen. Abraham had faith. He lived as a stranger in the promised land. He lived there in a tent. And Abraham put his faith in God because he was waiting for the eternal city that God had planned and built. And even when Sarah was too old to have children, she had faith in God. She had faith that God would do what God had promised. And she had a son. Well, you know what? Her husband Abraham was near the end of his life, but he became the ancestor of many people. God kept his promise to Abraham and Sarah. Remember, God told Abraham that he would be the father of many great nations. The Bible tells us that there are as many of his ancestors, his relatives, as there are stars in the sky or grains of sand along the beach. Think about that. That's a lot of family, isn't it? When you see what having faith looks like from these Bible stories, your faith in God will grow. These are just a couple of the big faith Bible stories, and I think that we will visit some of the other big faith Bible stories during the Sunday school year, okay? Because I think it's important for you to know these Bible stories of faith, because when things are the most difficult, that's when we need faith and hope the most. And when you see what having faith in God looks like, your faith will grow and grow. And we all want you to have strong, big faith in God. So, this is what I drew on my Fruit of the Spirit plate for faithfulness. Now, I drew a rainbow, and in the middle of that rainbow, I drew a picture of the ark that Noah had built for God. And it reminds me, this plate, to stay strong in my faith in God and do what God has called me to do without doubt, to remain faithful to God. And so that's what this plate is going to remind me of, to have faith like Noah. I love the story of Noah and the ark. And we're going to learn about that during the school year. That will be one of the Bible stories that we will learn. Some of you already know it, but some of you don't, and it's a really important one for you to know. So, I'm wondering, what's going to be on your fruit of the Spirit dinner plate to remind you to remain strong in your faith in God? I'd love to see your plate. So, like I've said before, please send me a picture. I received one from Zoe Pistone not long ago, and I love it. I'd love to, and I'm actually going to put it in the Chimes so that some people, the congregation and all of you, can see some of the plates that she's created. So send me a picture of your plates so that I can share them with the congregation, because you know what? They want to see what you've been doing, and they want to learn what you've been learning. They really do. They watch these videos. So send me a picture of your plates, and I will try to publish them in the Chimes, okay? So let's say a prayer together, okay? Let's bow our heads. Dear Jesus, please show us how to spend this day sharing your love in every way. Help us to be kind to everyone, to play and laugh and have lots of fun. Shining your light and giving your grace, sharing your joy with a smile on our face. Loving God, please be with us all, protect us, and guide us. Thank you for all the blessings in our life, dear God. Amen. So, have a great week, everyone. Stay strong in your faith, knowing that God is with you always and in all ways. Stay safe, and remember to wash your hands and wear a mask and remain faithful. I love you all. Miss you so much, and I look forward to the time when we can regather again. Take care. May the peace of God be with each and every one of you. Bye-bye.